in reality in the NFL, you have to get to 8 or 9. You get to 8 or 9, you're going to have a shot all the way to the end. 8 or 9 wins. And they're already halfway there and could exceed that. But it's as you said, when you've mentioned the word clutch, what I've thought of with clutch in the Cardinals the last few years is around the neck. Okay. And people take that as a dig. No, it's a fact. And I guess I look at things like when Jen Hale on the sideline on the broadcast said that Kyler pulled Marvin into a room and asked, what routes are your favorite routes? And I'm thinking it took 8 weeks for that to happen. Do I really believe that's the first time they had that conversation? But clearly something happened because they did go to him a lot more. What'd you make out of that connection?
Well, yeah, so this is interesting because, yeah, Jen Hill mentioned that. And then you think about the fact that Kyler, after the game, said this bleep takes time or something to that effect, you know. And it's, look, we all know that things take time in our profession. And, you know, there's a comfort level that you have to reach in whatever job you're doing. But yeah, I mean, for whatever reason, it's, to get to this point, 8 games in, you could say, is it developing more slowly than you would like? I mean, I guess we're just pleased it is developing. The other thing that stands out, and take it for what it is. I'm not saying people got together. I'm not saying there were conversations, but I will say this. Kurt Warner broke down a lot of the tape last week, and it was 32 minutes of Kurt Warner looking at, and he kept it pretty positive. It was like, look, it was sort of started in defense of Drew Petzing, and because let's face it, we all hear the same things. We hear the coaches talking. I mean, the assistant coaches, many times I go down the street and I go out there on a Tuesday and I listen to Drew Petzing, Nick Rawlis, and Jeff Rogers talk because those guys are the guys that are boots on the ground with their players and their assistants and finding out a little bit more of the nitty gritty of what's going on. And so Drew was under a little bit of fire. Kurt Warner wanted to show that, look, there are opportunities there. But the biggest thing that I think that Kurt brought out was the intermediate passing game. It's not that you have to launch the ball 30, 40 yards downfield. And certainly one of the problems was we were seeing too much short stuff. And I think that's been something that we've seen with Kyler. Where is the 15 to 30? And that is exactly what showed up, especially, late in that game, plays to Trey McBride, plays to Marvin Harrison. But the connection with Harrison, he's got to be a big part of this, Brad. When you draft a guy that high, he just has to be. There's too much talent, there's too much potential. And when he's sitting there and only having a couple of catches or only 50% or 40% on the targets, it definitely is indicative of a problem. It's a symptom of a disease within the offense. And how do you diagnose it and how do you fix it? And I think what we saw today was we saw a little bit of the cure when you watch the tape on Sunday against the Miami Dolphins. Now, there might have been things that they saw against that Dolphins defense that they thought they could exploit, but the reality was when he was man on man, there, crossing routes are good with Marvin. I mean, he's an athletic guy, the diving catches. I think Marvin Harrison Jr. is having a definite adjustment to this league, but took a big step forward on Sunday. So you've got Kyler, who's been in the league 6 years, and then you've got a rookie. And how is he bringing him along? And I think it might have taken a little more time than we liked, but we're seeing that. We're seeing how does Kyler, as a veteran now, bring along a young player like that? Because before, when it was DeAndre Hopkins, he didn't have to. I'm pretty sure Hop told Kyler what he needed to know about certain things, and they worked that out. And it was a very valuable connection while that 2021 team was thriving before, Hop was hurt that year. But, when it's a player that's brand new in the league, it's a whole different deal.
Jody, it's as simple as this. The expectation is they're going to stub their toe. Okay. To get through that, it's okay. Now you've won 3 in a row. This is different than what it's been. I think it's a different organization. I think it's a different team. But to get this fan base who has seen this stuff for 30 years of them get close and then they just completely crash and burn, or even this season where you and I have positive conversation and then what the heck? How do they just get stomped on in this game? It takes
Yeah.
consecutive wins. It takes being credible. It takes coming back and the excitement. And that's going to get some fans who live in Arizona who still love the Bears. Sunday's going to be a Bears home game. It's going to be a Bears convention. That's just a fact. There'll be some red, but we know this. These Cardinal fans sell their season tickets. Bears fans are going to show up. It's going to be a Bears show.
There's only so much you can do, but you know what? They're doing it on their end with the football side, and they want to lean into the football side, and everybody does, and they've won two in a row now, and so maybe there are some people that aren't going to sell those tickets. And you and I, not to disrespect the fan base, there are a lot of great Cardinals fans. There are just are it's a melting pot out here. You and I are part of that as well. We've been here a long time, but we did come from other places too, and there are a lot of people from the Midwest and from Chicago. But let's hope that a message to Cardinal fans: go to the game, wear red. There are a lot of you out there that do it. I know many of you. I have a lot of friends who are out there tailgating and proud and fans, diehard fans. But you got to show up, and hopefully that happens. But again, this team, there's been so many times that fans have left disappointed, and they've been mad about it. They've been open about that too. But Monday night went a long way to, hey, we left and we were celebrating, the callers after the game that we took, we were so happy to be able to have a venue for their joy. So let's go, Bears, Jets, win. You really need to win too if you're serious about doing something this season, if you're serious about going to the playoffs.